Hello and welcome everyone to another quick edit video. This time I will be editing another sunset shot with a stronger focus on the foreground, especially the flowers you can see here. Also, there's a lot of vignetting going on. I think I might be able to fix it in Photoshop later, or I might have to crop the image. First thing I can do to get rid of the vignetting is to enable the profile correction. As you can see, it got a little bit smaller here, but I'm also enabling the option to remove the chromatic aberration here. For the moment I will leave the white balance as it is right now because I think it looks quite good. So I'm starting by bringing down the highlights, and I'm also increasing the shadows. Now you can already see the image got a bit of a bluish look after I increased the shadows, so I'm changing the white balance temperature to a more yellowish color. Also, I want to add a bit of magenta. Next I'm applying a gradiated filter for the foreground, and here I'm just increasing the exposure a tiny bit. And I also want to change the color temperature a bit more. Also, I might increase the whites just a tiny bit. And I'm also increasing the clarity by like 10 or something, as well as the vibrance. I might think I'm applying another gradiated filter again for the foreground. And here I'm adding a lot of clarity. And I'm also decreasing the blacks to bring out the yellow color from the colors a bit more. Also, I'm increasing the highlights to give this effect a bit more strength. Now I want to apply a radial filter. I'm going to drag it over the orange part of the image where the sunset is. And here I am applying a very strong yellowish color. Also, I want to add a bit more of exposure here. And I'm also going to decrease the clarity to give this part of the image a kind of glow effect. Now, because I think the green part of the image is a bit oversaturated, I'm going to decrease the saturation here. And I'm increasing the saturation of the yellow color tones a bit, as well as orange and red. Now I also want to decrease the luminance of the green color tones, which kind of darkens the green colors, as you can see, especially in the foreground. And I want to increase the luminance of the yellow color tones. This brings out the flowers even more. Now, as always, I'm going to apply some split toning corrections here, and I want the highlights to appear a bit more warmer. So I'm choosing an orange, red, yellowish color, whatever looks best to you. And I'm going to do the same thing for the shadows. And like always, I'm adding a ton of sharpening. And this is it for the Lightroom section. Now I'm switching over to Photoshop. So first I want to get rid of the vignetting. Therefore I'm duplicating my background layer just to be sure I have a backup layer here. You can do this by pressing Ctrl J. Then I use the lasso tool and I'm just going over the vignetted part. And then I press Shift F5 to fill it. And I'm selecting content aware. And now I am just repeating the same process for every corner. And for the right side of the image, I think I want to crop it a little bit because it's easier to get rid of the vignetting here. Okay, now I can start applying some filters, and as always I'm using the Nik collection. First I will be applying the polarization filter of the Color Effects Pro plugin, and as you can see it gives the image a lot more of saturation. As you can see here, the filter increases the highlights quite a bit, so I'm going to mask them out via layer mask. And then I will be applying another Color Effects Pro filter. Instead of the classical soft focus, I'm going with the sunlight filter, which also gives my image this glowy effect. But it's harder to find the right settings for this filter, so you just have to play around a bit. As you can see now, before and after, this filter is quite a bit stronger than a classical soft focus. Also, I think I have to mask out certain areas in the upper part of the sky. So I'm applying another layer mask and start brushing out the areas which I don't want to be affected. Okay, and this is all the editing for this image. I hope you could learn something from my video, and if you like to see more content, feel free to subscribe to my channel.